Greetings. In the chapter Who is the Big Bad Wolf? Nearing the end of 30 Years of Watchtower Slay, William Schnell now gets to their vilification of Protestantism. Not content to constantly demonize the Catholics, they take after the Protestant churches as well here. Schnell says much more could be quoted on religion and Catholicism, as published in Watchtower books, but these few quotations will give you the trend. Still another matter is the Watchtower attack on Protestantism. This jarred me even more than did the attack on religion and Catholicism because it hit closer to home. From the early 16th century, as the records of my family in Sigmaringen and Himmelsbach in southern Germany show, my family were of the Protestant faith, and a number of them died in the 30-Year War. Members of my mother's family stem from Huguenot stock. Protestantism is an ingrained quantity in my life. As early as 1926, in the book Deliverance, the Watchtower Society called Protestantism the offspring of the great harlot and as overreach by the devil. In the book Religion, it speaks of Protestantism as following devilish wisdom. In Enemies, they refer to Protestantism as dead and state that Protestantism plays into the hands of the hierarchy. In the book Riches, published by the Watchtower Society in 1936, they call Protestantism now part of the Great Whore. In Vindication, Volume 3, published in 1932, they make bold to assert that Protestantism corrupted itself more than Catholicism. Because of that, they claim that Protestantism is more reprehensible than Catholicism. But if you think these small quotations and excerpts are ludicrous and impossible to visualize as being part of the provender fed Jehovah's Witnesses by the Watchtower Society, let me astonish you even more. I have before me the book Riches, published by the Society in 1936. From a chapter in that book entitled Philistines, pages 223 to 292, wherein the Catholics are likened to the Philistines, I will quote just one paragraph, and that's paragraph 1 on page 285. Quote, "The scriptures seem fully to support the conclusion that the destruction of the religionists under the lead of the Roman Catholic hierarchy will be the first part or the beginning of Armageddon. The devil religion, mislabeled Christianity, was first put forward under the name of the Church of Rome, out of which grew the Roman Catholic hierarchy. That organization is mentioned prophetically in the scriptures under the unpleasant title of the Old Whore. There was a period of time when in the world there was an organization known as Protestantism, which opposed the Catholic organization. But about the time of the World War, the Protestant so-called organization ceased and went over, bag and baggage, to the hierarchy. And now the entire lot constitutes the Great Whore. This crowd of public gangsters and enemies of God set up the League of Nations as a substitute for God's kingdom. Anything with them to turn the people away from Jehovah and his king. These pretending to stand for God, in fact stand for and represent the devil. And this whole bunch composes an integral part of the beastly rule of the earth. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath inclined their hearts to do his purpose, even to execute one purpose." This is exactly in harmony with Isaiah's prophecy that Jehovah's storm of hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies and fully expose to all mankind the duplicity of the great whore, and her destruction shall precede the destruction of the beast and the false prophet. The wicked modern Philistines shall be ensnared in their own work of their own hands. End of quote from Riches. You will agree I had every cause for exposing the Watchtower Society. You have read now how I was mishandled and mistreated in my 30 years of slavery. In fact, the Watchtower Society had now in my mind become the jailers from whom I had fled. Yet I could never have used that kind of description of them and their practices. Above all, I would not have done that for fear of displeasing my Heavenly Father by taking judgment of others upon myself. And I certainly have no desire for revenge. Instead, I am writing this story of my slavery with a prayer that God may yet open the eyes of my former brethren, that he may use this story to warn others from the Watchtower quicksands. I could go on quoting multifarious pages and paragraphs from the voluminous writings published by the Watchtower Society, but that would only be a repetition of the type and caliber of pronouncements made by the faithful and wise servant class. Next time, he's dealing with their attacks, constant attacks on the clergy as children of the devil. I'll put in a link to this is to Protestantism as the enemy, as presented by Rutherford. Is that really the nature of Protestantism? Is Protestantism really like the Catholic religion that it came out of, as JFR seems to say it? Or is it the faith of the Clapham sect? And why the Clapham sect? Because for all that you can say that's negative about both Catholicism and Protestantism, you have these examples, which the Watchtower habitually ignores. I don't remember finding a single reference to William Wilberforce and the Clapham sect in the Watchtower literature during the 15 years I was a member, and I think we checked the index to see if there had been any. I couldn't find any. So is Protestantism the religion of the Clapham sect? What did the Clapham sect do for Great Britain and for the free world 200 years ago? That's the link on your screen. See you soon.